What's good, y'all? My name is One Zendarius, and I'm back with more of the 101. Now, so far, we went through a few different things, such as your orbiter, the starting warframes that you can select from, including some of the stats each individual warframe, weapon, and companion have. Now, in this tutorial, I want to explain some things about the mods that modify those stats in question. And as usual, if you do like the video, be sure to subscribe, like, hit the bell, and follow my socials down in the description below. Now with that out of the way, let's get into it. Now, in Warframe, you obviously have stats for different weapons, and just a refresher, I'm going to show you the basic stats on certain weapons and certain Warframes in question. I want to go back to Ivara Prime because I have been using her a bit more, but I haven't done too much so far. Let me go back and wipe that off.
Operator, please return.
Covered in
Alright,
blood.
I'm gonna go back out, then I'm gonna go back in. Now, I explained before how every stat in the game is different based on whether you have a Warframe, companion, or weapon equipped. Now, the one thing I mentioned I touched up on a bit on the stats was the mods themselves. However, the mods are more useful as they help modify various things from your armor rating to the damage you deal to the elements to how your weapon behaves overall. So I'm going to go into a bit deeper detail onto how different mods affect different warframes and etc. so forth. Anyway, when we was exploring the orbiter, this station right here is referred to as the mod station. I didn't go into too much detail into it because there's a whole lot to go over with the mod station in question. Also, I explained various different things from the foundry and everything. But anyway, onto the mods. Now, the mods are, for less of a better phrase, the lifeblood of everything in this game. They're also a source of where you can come up with builds, mod synergies, and various other things as well. In this game, there are at least 5 separate types of mods, 6 if you include special mods themselves. You have the three regular mods, you have rivet mods, you also have platinum mods, and you have special mods referred to as these type of mods, Parazon mods. Anyway, I'm going to go through and detail each different type of mod and how they appear in the game itself. The 3 standard mods, the ones you'll be picking up a lot, are copper mods or bronze mods, silver mods, and gold mods. These are the mods mostly used for your weapons in general, and each of these mods are different based on which rank they are in general. So because they're different, they affect weapons, warframes, and your companions depending on what type of mod it is and what it affects. So I'm going to give a basic example. For example, this mod right here, ammo drop. Naturally, you know there's a few different things about mods, and some things about mods may be, a bit distinctive from one another. But one thing before I go into describing the actual mods in general, there are actually 2 different types. The ones that you get right here, which are the regular mods, and then you have what are referred to as flawed or damage mods. The damage mods you get from doing the first mission or the first quest that you come across, which is Vor's Prize. You'll come across a bunch of flawed mods. So if anything, when you start getting mods like these, it's best to sell off those other mods as they have no use at all. And because they're flawed, you can't rank them up higher than any of these mods that they have. Anyway, the basic formula of mods is that you have the description of the mod itself, you have the mod name, and you see a bunch of other different information. And I'm going to explain it as best as I possibly can. In the upper right hand corner of the mod, you see which is a cost. A while ago I explained, in the Warframes, actually in the stats, alongside the Warframes, that the capacity at the top, or as I like to refer to as skill points, those skill points are used to equip mods with. So naturally, if this right here costs 2 skill points to equip, you'll pretty much use 2 skill points to equip it onto said weapon. And naturally, if your mods exceed the cost, capacity, or skill points of your weapon, you can't equip anything more. It'll just read itself out to tell you that you don't have enough skill points. So that's what that number in the upper right hand corner means. But that little mark that's next to it is called polarity. Polarity, as I explained before in the stats section, is that when you have mods that has the same polarity, you can cut the cost in half. It makes it a lot easier for using certain weapons in case you decide to come up with different builds. This is where the whole build thing comes into play. But I'll explain more of that in a moment. Down below that, you have the mod name, and then you have the description of what the mod affects. For example, ammo drum increases your weapon's ammo maximum count by 15%. So what that means is that if your weapon has 100 ammo inside and it increases it by 15%, it'll increase it to 115 ammo that you can have all at once. Ammo maximum means the maximum amount you have stored in your weapon. In other words, how much ammo you have on you, basically. Below that, you'll see what the mod affects, or in this particular case, your rifle. Each mod affects something different. You got mods that affect rifles, shotguns, sidearms, secondaries. You can have them affect various things such as bows, beams, all that stuff. All these mods affect at least one type of weapon, no matter what. And in most cases, the bronze mods are pretty lower on the scale of how effective they are, because they usually only affect one type of stat in Warframe. Now I'm going to scroll over just a little bit, and then you have the silver mods. But like the bronze mods, the silver mods affect various things as well. It doesn't affect everything, so to speak, but you'll understand that some of these affect different things, such as the type of element you have on a weapon, the type of enemy that you'll face, how much damage you'll do to them. Also some other stuff as well, such as the actual element that affects certain enemies. Like, for example, this contagious spread, 15% toxin damage, but this one affects the shotgun. So in that case, if I attach this to a shotgun, I'm pretty much giving it toxin damage or poison damage. So when I do that, any shotgun that I have will be affected by this. And in some cases, if a weapon already has toxin damage on it, it will enhance it, basically. Now, one thing to note is that some mods can't stack on top of each other in its entirety. And I'm going to show you what I mean.
Did you fuse your mods, operator? Did they anger you in some way?
Now, as you know, each weapon and each Warframe and each companion in their case do have various different mods as well. Some of these mods may sound different, may be the same, but depending on what type of mod that you have, you can equip certain mods to affect certain things. In this particular case, I want to show you Umbral Vitality. So, Umbral Vitality increases your health by 360% and my tile resistance by 9%. Just ignore the bottom where it says set Warframe, enhanced mods in this set. That's irrelevant. But you see the name of it is called Umbral Vitality. Now, the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way to the right, because I do have vitality here. Yeah, that's vigor. Continuity. Where's vitality? Here it is, right here. Vitality. Now, you notice that this says Umbral Vitality. But if I try to put this on there, I can't equip it. And that's because this mod is the same as this. Even though this mod says I get plus 9% tower resistance, because it's called Umbral Vitality and it has 360% health, I can't equip this no matter what. But you notice that I have two different types of two different things that it affects on me, which is actually much better in vitality. So because I have 360% health, you would believe that this would be a whole lot better, especially with 440% health. In most cases it is, especially since you see right here, this is the polarity. So if I was to equip this into this spot and get rid of this, I will effectively cut this in half. So this will only cost 6. So no matter what, even if you try to stack them differently, you can't combine like-minded mods. That's the one thing. However, there are ways around that. So I'm going to take this off real quick and I'm going to put this on. So this increases my health by 440%. But there are other mods in this game that can affect more on your Warframe than you may think. For example, Vigor. Vigor increases my shield capacity by 120% and it increases my health by 120%. Now, the key thing to know here is that since Vigor increases my shield capacity by 120% and it increases my health by 120%, I can put this on and not suffer any of the ill effects from me not being able to equip it. Why? Because this is called Vitality, which just affects my health, and this is Vigor, which affects my shield and my health. So technically, these two mods stack and synergize. You'll notice when I take that off, my health is only 495, and my base health is only 165. So if I put Vigor on, it increases it to 585 health. So if you add 440% health and 120% health, I really have pretty much 560% health. So that's what I meant by mod synergy. I pretty much stacked health on health and got a bigger bonus from it overall, which is actually good because some Warframes don't have enough health to help keep them alive in combat much longer than normal Warframes do, such as the Inaros that I showed earlier, where I have max health. Now, another thing to note is that in most cases, some of these things may affect how some things behave. And for that explanation, I am going to use one of my other weapons that I have, and luckily I still got it, the Penta. Now, the Penta is referred to as a grenade launcher, but even though it's called a grenade launcher, it can still use mods that are rifle related, since it's considered a primary weapon. I mean, I know it's a bit confusing about why don't they have, launcher mods or anything like that. Anyway, because the weapon itself, and I'm going to back out and go back in again so I can reset the stats. Now, in most cases, the Penta is used as a grenade launcher. Now, the way that it acts is that you can fire it in a normal fashion, and you press the special attack button or the secondary shot button on the gun itself, and it will detonate the grenades themselves. So the Penta is pretty much not a proximity mine, but a grenade launcher that you can manually detonate weapons overall. So in that case, the weapon itself will deal damage for as long as you give it a certain Yeah, as long as you give it a certain mod that can increase its effectiveness. However, because the grenade doesn't do anything else beyond that, it just blows up. That's basically, it's just one trick. However, you notice that this right here, you notice that it's a bit different. And you'll see that little mark all the way up in the upper center of the mod itself. That's referred to as an Exilis mark. An Exilis mark denotes whether or not a weapon has special properties that other weapons don't have. Some weapons do have special properties when equipped with a special mod, some doesn't. In the Penta's case, it's called tether grenades. Grenades tether up to 5 enemies from 9 meters away. So, the Penta by itself is just a grenade launcher that you can manually detonate grenades. However, if I attach tether grenades as a mod slot itself, it can tether 5 enemies all at once. So basically, this just modifies the weapon so that it acts as a sort of net or a rope, so to speak. So if any enemies try to come near me and I throw down grenades, they'll stick to walls, and the tether grenades take care of everything else themselves. So I can literally hang my enemies no matter what. Plus, the one thing I failed to mention, and I didn't want to mention it just yet, and all the way at the bottom, you'll see these 5 dots. Those dots are referred to as rank up dots, or ranks for the mods themselves. So mods rank up differently from how weapons, warframes, and companions rank up, which I will also get into as well. So I'm going to leave the Penta as is, and I'm going to go ahead back to the mod station. One of the things I didn't want to explain just yet was these slots all the way up here. And now I'm going to explain it. Anyway, as usual, you'll see mods on the bottom part of every mod in the game itself. Mods have varying ranks depending on what type of mod you have and what the mod itself affects. So, in order to understand a few things, I'll explain what the top part of this right here means. I'm going to exclude this for the time being, at least until near the end. Now, in order to rank up mods, you perform a special function referred to as fusion. Fusion is basically increasing a mod's slots, so to speak. So I'm just going to go ahead and select assault mode, since that's the only mod we got. And you notice that this is highlighted. Depending on which type of mods you have selected or how many you have selected, you can perform one of these 4 options. So if you only have one mod selected, you can initiate fusion. So fusion, enhance a mod by fusing endo. So in case you're wondering, this right here, this is referred to as endo. This is used to upgrade mods. You can get endo from drops from different enemies, or you can break down different mods themselves, whichever ones you're not using, into endo. You can dissolve them. So basically, the rarer the mod, the more endo returns you'll get. Anyway, back to fusion. So I selected this mod, assault mode, which is a sentinel mod. Sentinel will attack the first visible enemy within 17.5 meters. Now you see that is, now just ignore the upper right hand corner, as since it's just affecting just the sentinel itself, it's irrelevant at this point. Anyway, so I have this selected. You'll see 1 in the center of the mod itself, since I already have it selected. I go to fusion. I'm in the fusion slot. Now you'll see that the mod itself is considered unranked. So just like all the other stuff, you know, Warframe, weapons, companions, all mods start off unranked. On the left hand side, you'll see this right here, which is referred to as drain. Drain is basically increasing the amount of skill points that each mod costs in order to equip said mod. So the higher rank a mod is, the more effective the mod is, the higher the cost. Anyway, since I'm playing on Xbox One, it'll be a bit easier. You'll see below the mod, you'll see a plus and minus. So in this case, I can upgrade the mod at any given point, since you need both credits and you need endo in order to upgrade the mod. So I press right bumper once. You'll see that the drain says it increases it by 1. But you'll see that the mod itself increased in level. And when it increases in level, you'll see that the mod description increases as well. So for 17.5 meters, you'll see that this increases it to 20 meters. So ranking up a mod from unranked to max rank varies depending on the mod itself. So if I want to rank it up again, it increases to 22.5 meters. But you'll see on the right hand side, in order for me to attain rank 2 fusion for the mod itself, you'll see that it costs 30 endo and it cost me 1,449 credits. Now, if I don't want to apply the fusion, I can just press B to cancel, or if I do want to apply it, I'll press X. Mind you, if you do apply the fusion, it's permanently added to the mod itself. You cannot revert the mod back to the way it was. And to show you, I'm going to upgrade Assault Mode to rank 2. And after you press X on the Xbox One, it'll want you to confirm if you want to go through with the fusion process itself. If you want to, press yes, and the mod itself is permanently upgraded to 22.5. But you'll notice that I can't move back on any of the mod ranks. That's because in this case, it's best to upgrade mods depending on what type of weapon you have. But the one thing to note is that if you upgrade a mod that's already equipped onto a weapon, and the mod itself can't stay on the weapon itself, and it reached the max skill points that it can use, the mod itself will tell you that whichever weapons that you have that is upgraded can't be upgraded it will have to be de-equipped from the weapon itself before it can be upgraded. Just to make things better, I'm going to go to a primary weapon to give you a big example. Now, in most cases, you'll see I got tons of mods, and yeesh, a whole lot of them. Anyway, for example, if I upgrade Metal Auger, you see everything is still where it is. Also, you'll also see how high the mod will affect certain weapons depending on, the mod itself, depending on what type of mod I have. Now, if I apply fusion, I can apply the fusion. So, if I do that, I maxed the mod itself. So it'll be max rank. Now, let's see. I don't have that equipped. Shotgun savvy. Alright. Gonna upgrade this. But usually it'll tell you before you fully upgrade certain mods that like this. For example, if I upgrade this to the max, you'll see this option before you finish upgrading the mod itself. So it'll say fusion conflict. Installed mod would exceed capacity of laser rifle. Cooperative config A. What that means is that the mod itself would exceed the capacity of one of the weapons I have. So the reason why is because since this exceeds my skill points for the weapon laser rifle in question, basically in order for me to fully upgrade this, I have to uninstall the mod, then I can apply fusion. However, note that in order to apply more skill points, you need to upgrade your weapon as usual or upgrade your mastery rank. But because of this, I'm not going to do it, which means I can still keep that on there, but I sacrifice not being able to deal additional damage to, the enemy in question. 30% damage to corpus enemies. So because of that, it'll be in conflict with the weapon I have. So I have one or two options. The first option is I don't upgrade this and I keep it on my weapon, or I upgrade the mod itself and upgrade the laser rifle, so I can re-equip this mod onto the weapon itself. So for now, I'm not going to upgrade it, but it's not going to permanently be de-equipped for my weapon. I'll just have to re-equip it when I meet the requirements to re-equip it itself. So that's the purpose of fusion. So in my case, any mods that you have that you don't need or have too many of, it's best to sell them off for credits, or if you don't have enough endo, you can dissolve them down to endo so you can have enough to upgrade other mods. But anyway, back to what I was doing before. In some cases, you may have way more mods than you normally would. In these cases, you can apply things such as transmute. Now, I'm gonna do that. Now you'll see that fusion isn't selected because fusion only deals with one mod at a time. Transmute deals with 4 unranked mods. Now you'll notice that you can have a chance at getting a higher rank mod over another rank mod. So for example, if you do 4 bronze level mods unranked, in that case you'll have a better chance of, well, you'll mostly get other bronze mods, but you'll also have a chance of getting silver mods as well. The same thing can happen with silver mods. If you have more silver mods, you have a decent chance to get silver mods, but you have a much better chance of getting gold mods. I mean you can see I got a ton of these. But yeah, you have a much better chance of getting gold mods. However, and I haven't tested this, but I don't know if upgrading gold mods will give you a chance of getting platinum mods either. But in some cases, some mods are best being transmuted to get much better mods, so you don't have to worry about getting lower rank mods and such. Also, another rule of thumb: if you use transmute with silver mods, you're not guaranteed to get bronze level mods, because that would basically be downgrading. You only have a chance of getting whichever 4 mods you have transmuted or anything higher. So if you have bronze, you have a chance of getting silver. If you have silver, you have a chance of getting gold. So transmuting 4 silver level mods will not get you bronze mods. So transmute to your heart's content. So at the bottom, you'll see transmute selected for 12,000 credits. So because you're transmuting mods, it does cost credits. So transmute only if you absolutely have to, or if you want to get certain mods that you don't have. Also, if you have 4 or more mods, you can pretty much break down any remaining mods as usual to credits or endo. But like I said before, the rarer the mod, the more endo returns. But because I have 4 bronze level mods, well, bronze rank mods, the most I only get for it is only 800 credits or 20 endo, which isn't a whole lot. But that's why I say it's best to sell off your mods before you... Yeah, it's best to sell off mods than to get endo, as endo is pretty common in the game and you can pretty much get it anytime. Now just to back out just real quick, I said that I will explain Ayatans at the end of it all. And the reason why is because Ayatan treasures or statues or void statues have the greatest chance of getting endo as well. So, and I'm going to explain that a bit more as well, since it also affects the type of endo, since it affects a resource that you'll get to upgrade your mods. Anyway, Ayatan sculptures in general are sculptures that you find rarely in missions, or if you unlock Maru, you could do it once per week in order to get an Ayatan sculpture. Now, as usual, Ayatan sculptures, you can sell them to Maru for however many endo that you want. For example, if I was to sell this off, I would get 325 endo for it. And the only time I could get endo is only when I trade this into Maru. I could do the same thing with Ayatan stars as well, such as the cyan stars cost 50 and the amber stars cost 100. However, I recommend not doing anything with these, as when you do come across Ayatan sculptures, you can increase this right here to much higher rates. Now for an example, I said before that this only costs 325 Endo. I'm sorry, I was about to say Ayatan. 325 Endo. But these stars are used to inscribe inside these Ayatan sculptures. And if I install these into Ayatan sculptures, I increase the return for the Endo. So you'll notice that even though this is moving, I could only sell this for 325, but if I socket them all, I increase it. I pretty much quadruple the returns on the weapon. On the statue itself. So instead of getting 325, I literally quadrupled the cost of it. So I'll get 1,425 Endo for just this alone. That beats the 50 the minuscule that you would get for this for 50 and this for 100. However, the rarer the Ayatan sculpture, the more Endo you'll get. And you'll notice that I fitted one of these amber stars inside, which basically means this actually costs more than this. So basically, these in order is that this costs the least, this costs the most. However, since there are several Ayatan sculptures, and I recommend picking up any of these as you see, any of these whenever possible, because you want to get the Ayatan sculptures. Now I'm going to go ahead and auto install all these, so I can have these in here. So I can pretty much sell 3 of these off and have these each cost 1,425 Endo each. So I'm pretty much going to. So if I trade these in, I'll pretty much be selling these off for close to about 4,000 Endo just for these 4 alone. Also, if you want, you can actually put them as a decoration. I mean, I got these as decoration, but well, the reason why these things are floating right now is because before the updates happened, this used to be much it used to be much broader. It used to come all the way down here, but I'll fix that soon. Anyway, if you want to know more about the mods that you have, or more about the mods that are inside the game itself, you can just go to Codex, go to Universe, and you can go to Mods. They have a full comprehensive guide on every single mod in the game, including mods you don't have and mods that you have unlocked already. It also tells you where you can find certain mods and who has certain mods as well. For example, this. If I want to get this mod right here, all I gotta do is go to Jupiter and fight that enemy right there. Honestly, I don't know what that enemy is or what goes on, but still. Every mod is different based on, like I said before, every mod is different, and where to get mods, you can just look up here. You can also check to see if you had any mods that are max ranked, or any mods that you haven't unlocked yet. Like, for example, some of these mods I haven't unlocked since I haven't discovered them yet. But some of these mods are unique. Some of these mods I have to find. So, for example, Astral Autopsy. Since I don't have the mod, I can look on the lower left-hand corner of the map, and the lower left-hand corner of my screen, and I can see where this particular mod drops and who drops it. So I need to find that enemy, or I can go to Cephalon Samaris and I can get that mod. So because of that, it's best to find what mods you don't have, what mods you need, and whether or not certain mods can be unlocked. Now, before I explained that some mods are different based on what type of mods you have equipped. Some mods affect Warframes as well. But these mods right here, the Warframe mods, these can affect different abilities on your Warframe in a question. For example, Fireball Frenzy. This is a Fireball augment for Ember. Hold to cast will grant all allies within 15 meters an additional 50% heat damage to their attacks for 28 seconds. Now, every time you hold to cast, you will give, your allies an additional 50% heat damage. So, instead of just casting Fireball Frenzy just by pressing, the button itself, I can hold the button and I can give my allies a much bigger percentage bonus to heat damage. But every mod for different weapons and different warframes can be unlocked by unlocking them in the syndicate, by going to the right vendor, or just by finding them from off of killed enemies. Now, I explained there are different types of mods. Now, one of the mods I'm going to explain, and it's a sort of exclusive mod that you don't unlock a few of these mods you unlock during the natural flow of gameplay. Other mods you unlock by spending a specific resource for certain vendors. For example, to get Prime Flow, Prime Vigor, and Prime Continuity, you have to find Borrow Katir, who is a special vendor where you can use the ducats that you get from that you sell at the kiosk on one of the normal relays, and you can sell off any prime parts or prime materials that you don't need for ducats themselves. You can use those ducats to buy exclusive mods that only Borrow Katir has in his collection. So in that case, you can get Prime Flow, Prime Vigor, or Prime Continuity from Borrow himself. Basically, Prime mods or Platinum mods are much higher ranked mods than the natural mods that you see in question. For example, Prime Flow is the Platinum mod of Flow. So naturally, this has a much higher rate. This one is much more effective than Flow, but just like what I said before with Umbral Vitality, you can only have one of these equipped onto your Warframe. Yeah, in this particular case, you can only have one equipped to your Warframe in question. So if you have Flow attached to your Warframe or modded onto your Warframe, you can't put Prime Flow on there. The plus side to having Platinum mods is that Platinum mods offer a much higher ranked rate than the actual mod in question. But the Prime mod is more cost intensive, which means you need to have a higher skill point cap in order to equip said mod. But as normal, if you compare these side by side, you'll notice that these actually do have roughly the same build up, but this has more ranks than Flow does. Now, another special mod that you'll come across, and these mods are unique because of how they are Riven mods. Now there are very few ways to get Riven mods. One of the ways to get Riven mods is by doing sorties, which have a chance of giving you a mod, or by I believe you can do a special mission that can drop these special mods in question, or the River Slivers that you get from the Requiem mods that you get from doing Kuva missions. Well, a person will combine those mods and they will pretty much add those mods to your collection. But what type of mod you get is completely random. However, the reason these mods are unique is because in order to understand what these mods do, you have to complete an objective on the mod itself. So in other words, you have to attach this mod either onto a weapon or your Warframe, take it into combat, and fulfill whichever the mod itself needs to be fulfilled in order to unlock the mod in question. For example, this mod is a Shotgun Riven mod. In order to unlock what it does and what it attaches to, you have to get 19 kills in a row while wall dashing or wall latching without touching the floor. So basically, in order for me to unlock this mod, I have to attach it onto a shotgun, and I have to get 19 kills in a row without touching the ground. So I have to be either wall dashing or wall latching. In other words, anytime I hit the ground, I reset that counter back to 19. So in order to unlock this, I need to kill 19 enemies at any given point. Another unique thing about these mods is that these mods only affect the weapon that's on the actual mod itself. For example, Boltor Acrea. I don't know why I can't say that. But anyway, this mod here affects the Boltor weapon in question. So the Boltor weapon, it would do 7.3% damage to infested, 21.5% critical damage, but it has a negative 4.2% to zoom. Now, the thing about these mods is that you can upgrade them like normal with fusion by using credits. But the unique thing about these mods is that you'll see you have additional options up here at the top. You'll see, fusion as normal, but you'll also see cycle. What cycle means is you can re-roll different stats on the mod in question. And since I got 900 Kuva, I'll show you what I mean. So for example, say I don't like the stats on this, like I want to zoom in with this weapon, or I want to deal more effective damage to enemies in question. Since I have this highlighted, I could go to cycle. It will once again it will tell me what I have right now if I was to max rank this mod itself. Also, you see in the lower right hand corner, you'll see what it affects. So this is the weapon that it fits inside, the Boltor weapon in question. So even if you don't have the mod, even if you don't have the weapon, it's best to have the mod itself. So if you do get the weapon and build it, it's best to use the weapon in question to effectively, attach to the weapon itself. Now, because I don't like the stats that are on the weapon, I can re-roll, cycle or re-roll the stats on the weapon itself. So if I decide to do that, I can re-roll it, and now look at that. I could choose whether or not I want to keep this on here, or I could just have this on here in question. So since I've re-rolled this, I can either keep this that I will have 66% damage to infested, 193.4% critical damage, but my zoom will go down by 37.9%. But like I said before, I got nothing to lose with zoom since the Boltor isn't really effective on zoom targets, but still. Or I could keep this, the new Boltor mod. I would get 128.6% heat damage. I would get 144.2% electricity damage, but I would lack 52.7% projectile speed, which means that the projectile would move slow, but I would get heat and I would get electricity damage. So if you want to keep this, you can hit confirm, or if you want to keep this, you can also hit confirm. But seeing as how I want to use this, I'm going to confirm by keeping this. However, if you use the Kuva is used up, so you can't refund it. So remember, think before trying to re-roll these type of mods. So I'm going to go ahead and re-roll this. So I can cycle the rivet into the current selection. So I'm going to hit yes. The old one is gone, but now I have this. However, when you want to if you want to re-roll better stats for this, remember it's going to cost more. So if you have the Kuva to spare, you can re-roll this as many times as you want. But remember, it costs more every time you re-roll this. So don't just needlessly re-roll just constantly in hopes of getting it, because you may wind up with a pretty decent overall look for this. As some things work for certain weapons, some things are detrimental for the weapons. But it's not that big a deal. But as usual, after that you'll see Riven Transmute. Basically, this is the same thing as mod transmutation as well. So if there are mods that you don't want, or don't use, or you don't have the weapons for, you could, if you don't have the weapons for them, you can just highlight 4 of them, and you can transmute them into something new. So say for example I want to transmute this, this, and that. I can transmute this. However, to say this transmutation will cost 1 river transmuter and the following mods will be consumed. So, in order for me to transmute this, I need a river transmuter and I need something additional as well. Personally, I haven't seen a transmuter, but it's neither here nor there. But since I just wanted to get that out the way, I'll just get that one out the way. But anyway, last and final, and I'll be done for the time, are these mods. These mods right here are unique because these mods go to your Parazine. Your Parazine is used for various things. The one thing you'll commonly use it for is hacking, so to speak. So, outside of hacking, you could use these to fight sort of rival to your Warframe, depending on which type of Warframe you have, is your Kuva Lich. Now the Kuva Lich, now to kill the Kuva Lich, you have to line these up in a sort of unique pattern, and I'll explain that right now. Which is right here, the Parazine. Right here you have a bunch of different things. Well, you have a bunch of different patterns that you unlock, and over time you'll understand that some patterns work for the Kuva Lich. But in order to kill the Kuva Lich in their entirety, you have to match these in a perfect pattern. The note requiems that you have are which type of requiems you should have on the top part right here in general. So in order to effectively kill the Kuva Lich, you have to match the pattern that's right here over here. So because I have this in the right spot, this is highlighted. Because I have this here, this isn't the right one. The primary reason I don't have anything else here is because the mod that I need, the special mod that I need, I don't have. So unfortunately, this will have to sit here for the time being until I find this mod, which is Zata. Because of that, this is in the right spot, this is in the right spot. I just need to center mod this, which is Zata. Unfortunately, I don't have it and I have to grind for it. But anyway, since these are Requiem mods, these are unique just to your Parazine. You can't equip them on anything else. However, you can equip these, which are special, which don't require any upgrades or anything, to your Parazine. Anyway, I went on too long. I kind of repeated myself pretty much throughout the whole time. But all in all, since mods are the lifeblood and mods are pretty much the build makers in the game, it's best to experiment with what works for your weapon, what doesn't work, and what really you feel comfortable with. Anyway, that's it for me for the time being. And as usual, if you guys do like the video, or if you haven't seen any of my previous videos, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell once again, and also follow me on my socials, as I do play this game every now and then. I actually play it a whole lot. But yeah, if there's anything I missed, be sure to leave a comment down below in the comment section. So until then, I'll catch you guys later.